Alright, today we're going to install a truck hitch on my Tacoma. This is the extended cab with a long bed. Anyway, so basically what it's telling us right now is we have to take off the rear bumper before we can put on the receiver hitch. And then we need these four guys. We need the 7/8, the 3/4, the 18, and the 19 millimeter. Alright, so there's two 18mm bolts down at this end. There's one here and then one on the inside. Then there's the two right here. I already took this one out, and there's one right here. And this just pops down, and the whole thing comes out. Alright, now the bumper's off. Got the two license plate lights there. Alright, instructions say we have to take off these bumper brackets right here. There's two bolts on either side. There's one right here and there's one inside of there. You can get a better view of the bolts on right there. Anyway, so take both of those off on either side, and then it says we can mount the hitch right up underneath there through these holes. Alright, so here's all the hardware for the mount, and it's pretty easy to tell which ones you need because there's only two of the brackets that go through the holes. This is for the next step. And then you use two of these. There's six of the same ones. You just use two of these, and then the two larger bolts. And they will end up going through this little holding spot right down here at the bottom. Alright, you can see the bolt, the square washer, the round washer, and then the other nut. And I'm going to tighten all that down later once I get all these holes lined up into place. When I lifted this up, I aligned, because this is the lowest point and or the narrowest point in the whole back into the frame. So I lined each of the edges up with that and just kind of like pushed it into place. And because it was so tight, it just held it up by itself. So I didn't even need another set of hands. Alright, so we're gonna stick the bumper bracket back in. That bolt is already in place. So I'm just gonna slide this into there just like that. And this little guy I had to bend just a little bit so that it would fit between the thickness of the metal here and here. So I had to bend that out just a tiny bit. So it'll go through like that and then latch into place, leaving that hole open and that inside the groove. So I made a little mistake. Make sure to put the new hardware in. There you see the bolt, locking nut, and then the washer. And then inside this other hole, I have the same bolt, locking nut, and washer, and then this guy on this side. Luckily, I'm keeping everything loose right now while I position everything, and then once everything's positioned, then I'll tighten it down all the way. Okay, so we're just finishing up mounting the bumper. I have one of the little spacers right here in between, just because the receiver itself pushes the bumper brackets out the thickness of the metal, and so having this right here compensates and lets the bumper bracket screw back into the bumper again. Anyway, so now everything is still loose, like none of this stuff is tightened down, none of the bolts at all. And now that I have everything back into place, all the bolts in, now I can go in and tighten them individually now that everything's matched up together.